All right, now that we understand the ovary and the follicle stages and we understand all that, let's talk about the ovarian cycle. And there are three parts to the ovarian cycle. There's two phases and there's the dividing line between them. So first, let me show you at top what is happening with the ovary. We have in the ovarian cycle, we have to start with the primary follicle because primordial follicles aren't doing anything. So we're going to develop from a primary follicle to a secondary follicle to that vesicular follicle, which undergoes ovulation and is followed by a corpus luteum, and then which degenerates and eventually turns into a corpus albicans. So here's our cycle, our 28-day cycle. The first 14 days in the ovary are known as the follicular phase. So this is the time where we have various follicles developing. Some are still primary, some are secondary, and in the second week, one of them seizes the day and says, it's my turn to become the vesicular follicle. Day 14 is when ovulation always occurs. So in the follicular phase, pre-day 14, that's when follicles are developing. The layers of the granulosa cells are increasing and thereby estrogen levels are increasing. After day 14, we have ovulated and now we are in the luteal phase named for our corpus luteum. Luteum is the noun, luteal is the adjective. So in this phase, the hormones are all related to a corpus luteum. Yes, there's lots of other primary, secondary, vesicular follicles still kicking out estrogens, but the corpus luteum is now kicking out massive amounts of progesterone during the luteal phase. So follicular phase, day 14 ovulation, followed by the luteal phase. That's it. The ovary is pretty simple. So now let's take those phases and what we understand about the follicles and look at what is happening hormonally. So what makes a primordial follicle become a primary follicle and start your development is the fact that follicle stimulating hormone is released from the adenohypophysis, courtesy of gonadotropin releasing hormone coming from the hypothalamus. So that's what triggers the follicular development. And then we talked about the paracrine stuff and increasing receptors. And so estrogen levels are going to start increasing. Now, what triggers ovulation, you may ask? Well, a massive spike in what's called luteinizing hormone, or LH. Okay. Now, what causes that massive spike in luteinizing hormone? It's your estrogen levels. So here's how this works. Follicle stimulating hormone starts the follicles to start developing, which means granulosa cells are increasing, which means estrogen levels are going up. When your female estrogen level hits your set point, and my set point is slightly different than yours or yours than my daughter's, my sister's, my mom's, we're all slightly different, but when it hits my set point, that triggers this huge LH surge. And guess what this LH surge triggers? Ovulation, after which the corpus luteum becomes the dominant follicle. So on the left here, we have the two hormones coming from the adenohypophysis. So on the right now, we're going to talk about estrogen and progesterone. I'm going to go over this one more time. When follicle stimulating hormone starts causing follicles to start developing, they are going to start producing estrogen, this red line right here. When your estrogen levels hit your critical point, that is going to cause this blue, huge luteinizing hormone surge, which triggers ovulation. Estrogen levels plummet a little bit because, yeah, you're losing follicular cell function here in this Graafian follicle. It's not going to be producing estrogen anymore, but there's still plenty of estrogen from those other follicles. And now this Graafian follicle has turned into a corpus luteum, and look what is happening. Massive amounts of purple hormone progesterone. And that continues for about 10 days post-ovulation. So this spike triggers ovulation, and here is progesterone. If there is no positive feedback from HCG, the corpus luteum quits. And look what happens to the progesterone level. Ooh, it plummets, and also some estrogens being produced by the corpus luteum, so estrogen plummets as well. And that is going to trigger the menstrual period. And then we start all over again. So the drop of estrogen occurs immediately after ovulation because of non-functional cells in that ruptured follicle, and then progesterone levels rise with corpus luteum, estrogen levels rise slightly, and then the lack of pregnancy triggers corpus luteum degeneration, which gives us our fall in estrogen and progesterone levels. So walk yourself through this, discuss it with somebody else. I put both of them on top of each other so you can look at the timing of both, and make sure you understand these hormone levels and relate it to what is happening in the ovary. So use the words of the ovarian follicle types in this. And with that, whoops, we are done with this section, and I will see you on the next video as we discuss the uterine phases, which are not identical to the ovarian phases. Similar, but not the same. I'll see you shortly, and thank you for all your hard work and understanding what's going on. I know the ovary is complicated. Women, we're just complicated.